there is something to be said for what the media will and will not cover when it comes to what is still going on in Iran, in Lebanon, and Gaza. I don't know what they think they're going to move on to, but let me assure you that Iran, as we have said, is on their last. We're on their last nerve at this point. And Khamenei is not messing around, despite all the propaganda that this country tries to throw on behalf of the Zio state and the very privileged shit-lib neocon class of this country. Iranian supreme leader says the only place Americans belong in the Gulf is at the bottom of its waters. That's some pretty serious language right there.
Wait, what was that? I'm sorry.
Are you baked out of your mind or something? What's going on?
Why is everyone talking about me? Like, first of all, I am no more baked than ever. But I was just looking at something, but that looked, scroll back down. I just don't want to miss the headline. I just don't want to miss it. I'm paying attention. Iranian supreme leader. Well, yeah. Why are we there? Okay. Valid.
Iranian supreme leader vowed Thursday in a defiant tone to protect the Islamic Republic's nuclear and missile capabilities, which U.S. President Donald Trump has sought to curtail through airstrikes and as part of a wider deal to cement the war's shaky ceasefire.
Exactly. That.
Colin, what I know I was able to read this article. Why are we not able to see it?
Looks like it's a pay article.
I'll do it.
Fortune might be, yeah. That's okay. There's probably somewhere else to find this, Peter, because I think that this is not the only, I don't know. It sounds like it's something that'll be in other stuff. Just find another source.
Colin, pull up AP if you can. Just put in Iranian supreme leader.
It's all good. Shit. Shinola. Shit. Shinola.
Iranian supreme leader defiantly vowed Thursday to protect the Islamic Republic's nuclear and missile capabilities, which the Donald has sought to curtail through airstrikes and as part of a wider deal to cement the war's shaky ceasefire. In a statement read by a state television anchor, Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei said that the only place Americans belong in the Persian Gulf is at the bottom of its waters, and that a new chapter was being written in the region's history. Khamenei has not been seen in public since taking over as supreme leader. I don't blame him. He's probably in a bunker 100 yards underground, following the killing of his father in the war's opening airstrikes. His remarks come as Iran's economy is reeling, and its oil industry is being squeezed by a U.S. naval blockade, halting its tankers from getting out of the sea. The world economy is also under pressure as Iran maintains its chokehold on the Strait of Hormuz, which is a fifth of all crude oil is transported. On Thursday, the global benchmark for oil, Brent crude, traded as high as 126 a barrel. That shock to oil supplies and prices is putting pressure on Trump, who is floating a new plan to reopen the critical passageway used by the U.S.'s Gulf allies to export their oil and gas.
Exactly.
Under the plan, the U.S. would continue its blockade on Iranian ports, which coordinating with allies to impose higher costs on Iran's attempts to subvert the free flow of energy, according to a senior administration official who spoke on condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to comment publicly. In a cable sent Tuesday, the U.S. State Department instructed American diplomats around the world, except those in Belarus, China, Cuba, and Russia, to seek their host government support for the Trump administration's call for assistance in establishing a maritime freedom construct that would ensure free and unimpeded access to shipping through the strait. This commitment reflects broad international consensus on the need for coordinated action to counter Iranian maritime provocations and ensure navigational rights and freedoms in the Strait of Hormuz. The initiative being led by the State Department and the Pentagon's Central Command is a fundamentally defensive response to protect the rights of all countries to navigate international waters freely and safely, and to hold Iran accountable for its aggressive and illegal actions to impede the free flow of commerce. Actually, that's their country. They could do whatever they want.
Why are we there in their business, in their space? Imagine if they were in the Gulf of Mexico. Imagine if they were just hanging out somewhere, down off of, I don't know, somewhere off of Mexico and Hawaii, and just having their stuff in all of our business. Why are we by the way, which is not getting covered, is all of our bases in West Asia have been completely decimated. There's no there there. They're never coming back.
No.
Our bases in Qatar, in Bahrain, in the Emirates, in Kuwait, and in Saudi Arabia have been destroyed. We no longer have bases there. And here's the thing, we never will again. And Iran is defending their land from foreign invaders, because that's us. So to me, the entire caucasity of us even being there, the only thing that we could have to do over there would be to politely ask the people in charge of that region, the Iranians, how can we trade with you? And let's be friends. And we're going to trade, and we'll pay you, and we'll pay you for the use of your stuff, and you'll pay us for what we do, and that's what we'll do. And when you come over here, then you'll pay to go in our space, and that's fine, right? No, we can't do that. We're incapable of coexisting on this planet with others. And I was thinking about this. Somebody went off on me in one of our comment sections about that if I hate this country, I should leave, and all of this stuff, when I say that we get what we have coming. Let me explain this. I will always root against the bully, period. I will always root for the people being bullied. The fact that the country I live in happens to be that bully is unfortunate. But suggesting that someone leaves to go where else in the world that our country is also bullying doesn't solve the problem. I don't hate the people who live here. I hate the empire.
Same. I love my country. I hate who runs it. At the same time, Trump has also floated possible changes to U.S. troop presence in allied countries in Europe. The day after the president announced his administration was conducting a review and potentially reducing the U.S. troop presence in Germany, he was asked by a reporter whether he'd weigh pulling U.S. forces out of Italy and Spain, which have sparred with the U.S. over use of bases for Iran-related operations. Why shouldn't I? Italy has not been of any help to us, and Spain has been horrible, absolutely horrible. The U.S. blockade, which as of Thursday has turned back some 44 commercial vessels, according to the U.S. Central Command, is designed to prevent Iran from selling its oil, depriving it of crucial revenue, which also potentially creating a situation where Tehran has to shut off production because it has nowhere to store oil. A recent Iranian proposal would push negotiations on the country's nuclear program to a later date. Trump said one of the major reasons he went to war was to deny Iran the ability to develop nuclear weapons. Sure. Iran has long maintained its program is peaceful, though it's enriched uranium at near weapons grade levels of 60%. Good, they should arm themselves. It's the only way to prevent us from trying to F them over. Pakistan on Thursday said it was still facilitating indirect talks between the U.S. and Iran aimed at easing tensions, but that Islamabad would also welcome direct communication between the two sides, even by phone. If the two parties can engage in real-time conversations that could ease the sticking points, said Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesperson Taher Anrabi at a weekly news briefing he declined to share details of any Iranian or U.S. proposals. Speaking to mark Persian Gulf Day in Iran, Khamenei's remarks signaled that nuclear issues in Iran's ballistic missile program won't be traded away. And again, I don't blame them. 90 million proud and honorable Iranians inside and outside the country regard all of Iran's identity-based spiritual, human, scientific, industrial, and technological capacities, from nanotechnology and biotechnology to nuclear and missile capabilities, as national. Again, there's no surprise how nationalistic Iran has gotten since this all got underway. Khamenei referred to America as the Great Satan, a long-hurled insult by Iranian leaders towards the U.S. since the '79 Islamic Revolution. How much more does it have, Colin? All right, I'll skim it. Iran announced Thursday it hanged a 21-year-old man over charges stemming from the nationwide protests in January, the judiciary's Mizan news agency reported. The agency identified the executed man as Sasan Azadvar from Isfahan. It is said he was hanged for the crime of effectively cooperating with the enemy by attacking police officers. Activists and rights groups say a crackdown on dissent, including a wave of executions, has further intensified since the U.S.-Israel war with Iran. UN Human Rights Chief Volker Turk said on Wednesday that at least 21 people have been executed since the start of the war. Iran routinely holds closed-door trials in which defendants are unable to challenge these accusations they face, rights groups say, warning that several other people remain at risk of execution.
I'm so angry about that. Oh, I'm sorry. You don't like that Iran executes people? Okay. Can we go back to where the genocidal entity just celebrated being able to execute Palestinian hostages that haven't even been given due process? But I don't hear you talking about that.
There's also
now we're talking about this. So
well, I was just going to say there's one other caveat here that isn't being talked about. And I'm not excusing the Islamic Republic's actions in any way, shape, or form, but I will say this. If you think that a substantial portion of these executions have not been brought on because of the clandestine operations between the State Department and the Mossad, who have infiltrated into that country with people posing as Iranian citizens, how much you want to bet that a substantial portion of the people who have been executed are actually agents? Now, is it possible that citizens that have been fighting against the government have ended up getting executed that are Iranian citizens? Certainly. Guys, live in the real fucking world. Live in the real world.
Seriously. It's so frustrating to me. And I am somebody, and we've discussed this, vehemently opposed to capital punishment. So I don't agree with that in any country, but we do not get to stand on some sort of like high horse. Exactly. And talk about capital punishment somewhere else. No, I can't take that seriously. You are not a serious person. If that's your beef with Iran, then you really are just, you're missing the whole point.
I think I'm okay now. Despite a ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon-based Iran-backed Hezbollah militants, the group has continued to claim attacks on Israeli troops in southern Lebanon. Israel's military said one of the soldiers was killed in a battle there Thursday, raising the troop casualties to 17 since the Iran war started. Air raid sirens sounded multiple times in border communities in northern Israel on Thursday. That's a shame. Israel military said it struck military structures used by Hezbollah, blah, 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 blah. Late on Thursday, the foreign ministry of UAE, which has come under attack by Iran during the war, announced a travel ban for its citizens covering Iran, Lebanon, and Iraq. Of course. So there you go. This is just another example of, again, not rooting for the enemy or rooting for somebody abroad, but rooting for the collapse of empire, because we are going to continue to be subjugated into this bullshit until enough people rise up and realize that there are much greater issues at play here. It also brings
Oh,
the
I'm rooting for Iran.
Yeah.
I'm flat out rooting for Iran. I will always support the oppressed over the oppressor. Iran didn't decide to do this war. Iran didn't start a war with us. And so, yeah. Yeah, and anybody who doesn't get that, I don't know. I don't know what you're watching or what you're smoking, but that's just not